Hi, and welcome to another episode of Between Two Pints. With me today is David VanDyke, a local fellow Vancouver filmmaker.
Happy to be here.
Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I've got you out here to talk about your new short film, which I just watched again, Brink, and it's an incredibly ambitious heist movie.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm excited to chat about that today and let you know what I've been up to.
Awesome. All right. Totally screw that part up. But now, first, we're going to attempt to pour live on TV or on the stream. We may cut to a few moments later. But yeah, so we're drinking root beer today and sarsaparilla.
Yeah, this is a new one for me. I've never Western root beer.
Yeah, no, when I
1800s.
When I offered you the sarsaparilla, you're like, "Is that alcoholic?" I'm like, I think there is out there, but I think that's like the precursor to root beer.
Yeah, have some scotch hidden in it. Or something.
I mean, you're wearing a leather jacket, so it's appropriate. Here, the ultimate camera assistant tool.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. No, I think you read me well when I walked in. It was like, okay, this guy needs some
cowboy root beer.
I'm going to look so bad doing this. This is going to be.
It's okay. This is generally what it's like when you get a director on the camera truck.
This is just going to be emblematic of how much I drink.
It's fine.
Wait, is it that way or is it?
You were doing it right.
Was I?
It's a really crappy one too, though. Like to the audience, I just want to point out that I've used for years, so I'm good at it. I make it look easy, but oh god, you're gonna kill me.
Listen, Tiffany, there's been a development in this case that merits your involvement.
Hey! I know what that's for.
A homeless man found this in the road bank, some 200 yards from the crime scene. That's what led us to you. Now, can you tell me anything about his whereabouts?
I don't know. I really don't.
So you got sarsaparilla and I got normal root beer.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what this is like. Try to put the bottle.
Yeah,
product placement.
Mine is good. So yeah, I promised you fancy root beer, I think was what the text said. And so I got cane sugar boiling root beer. And you have very cowboy Earps original sarsaparilla. Can I smell your?
I'm liking it. Yeah, it's got some of that barks, but then
oh wow, that is good.
That A&W.
Yeah, I guess sarsaparilla is like
root beer.
The grandfather of root beer.
I think they were the first to do it. Yeah, all the way from Western.
Mm-hmm. All right, Brink.
Yeah,
it's like it's a heist movie. It's this cop. There's people getting shot at. It's crazy. I don't want to ruin. Oh man, I probably just ruined stuff.
No, you're good. I did a lot of pre-release stuff, right? A lot of marketing for it, and so. I know it was my tribe that I think we first met.
Yes.
During like the big push when I was getting it all together. But no, I mean, if you want to go back to the whole genesis of it all.
Yeah. And I think because I saw it was like a passion project that I think blew up on you. Like it got bigger and.
Yeah. It really was. It was so mundane of a start too, right? It wasn't like I knew someone in it or something, or I knew the actual guy who did the crime. It being a film based on a true series of events, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I saw that at the end.
Yeah. So the actual original spark of the idea came when I was just at home watching YouTube, and the autoplay comes on, and sometimes you get a video you don't expect, and the whole thing.
You go entirely down the rabbit hole.
You go so far down, and I think I don't know. Maybe I passed out, and then I let it get on the autoplay, and I'm on my couch. I wake up and I see this news report, sort of like the documentary news reports that they'll do. On these stations, and it was about this guy Anthony Curcio, and I said, well, let me do a little digging here, and I let it play, and it was this guy who for 6 months planned one of the most elaborately schemed armored truck heists in US history, and had an inner tube, had the landscapers. Not going to give too much away about how everything unfolds.
I thought the inner tube was a really cool thing, actually.
Yeah, well, not original to me, but it was, there was so much substance there for a really interesting story that I said, I'm going to make this. And in that moment, it was like, what do I got to do to make a 30-something minute heist movie inspired by these true events of this guy, Anthony Curcio?
Okay, I got to get this out of the way because I'm a total camera nerd. What did you shoot on? And I think I know what the answer is.
Yeah. It was my own Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K camera.
Blackmagic.
I love those things. And you have one as well, or?
Yeah, I got the 4K Pocket, and then I got the 6K Pro. And as soon as I get any real amount of work, I want to get that Pixis.
Oh, the new Pixis is slick. I love it. Yeah, the images are. I've heard they're very airy-like.
Yeah. And I just B-raw, like
B-raw.
But ISO.
It was amazing. It really streamlined the process, right? But there was that Gen 4 switch over to Gen 5 where we're going all nerd right now.
Oh yeah, no, everybody should. I'll put like a skip ahead function.
Sure. The Gen 4 to Gen 5. We shot over about a year and a half.
Oh yeah,
almost 2. Yeah, and then there was that Gen 4 to Gen 5 switch. So then having to change that, luckily in B-raw, right, in post. Oops.
It's fine. It's okay. Don't worry.
Audio cleaners. I'm very sorry in advance now. But that switchover made it so easy because in the Resolve tab, Blackmagic Raw, you could just switch it out to Gen 4 to Gen 5.
So okay, next camera nerd question. Then we'll like go on to the stuff probably other people want to hear. But like, what lenses did you use?
It was a lot of Rokinon lenses. I
also got a Rokinon lens.
Love it. Right. Yeah. There's the bang for the buck is awesome, right? But then we used some cheaper lenses, like a 7 Artisans lens. There's some really nice ones you could get. See, I didn't have a speed booster. It was solely on the Micro Four Thirds mount. So
wow, that's wow.
So fast lenses. If you know, there's a lot of like shallow depth of field and shot. So I had like a 0.95 f-stop lens and a 0.95.
I get your focus puller hated you guys.
Well, that's the thing. We didn't even have that, so it was me on the barrel.
So you had a lot of self-loathing.
A lot of self-loading. Yeah. Any time there's a little bit of a slip in focus, it's all on me. Yeah. It's all on. I can't point it to anyone else. You know? But yeah, that's some of the specs.
So how did it like? So you saw the YouTube video. Like, what happened next? Like, how did it start evolving?
You know, it was a little bit until I started writing the script because I went to Wikipedia, I went through Google, and I wanted to know more about this guy, right? And so eventually I felt like I had enough material to write the script. And on first pass, it was tailored to him pretty directly in his life. So it was the names the same. It happened in Washington. So it was Monroe, Washington in the script, his wife, his daughter, and I wanted to actually approach him with it to get his approval to make the film.
So he's still alive?
So he's alive. He's 40-something years old.
God, that's old.
Still, yeah. Living in, I think, New York now. But quite a history. And I found him. I found this guy on Facebook who'd done the crime. And so I messaged him to say, hey, I'm doing this project. I would love to send the script and get your approval to make this on you and your story and use your identity. And he said, there's Netflix wants to do something with it. The rights are tied up with Tribeca that want to do a feature. So it's going to be tough to actually get anything in there edgewise. But then he said, send me the script. I'll take a look at it. And then I'll let you know, if I want to pass you on to some of the players in this, some of the writers and things like that. So that didn't happen. Well, unfortunately, I sent it. Didn't really hear back. But then I said, I'm not hearing anything back. This is something that I really, really want to make, right? And so I basically just took it on myself to rehash a lot of the plot points and change all the names and locations. So it's not based on a true story. It's more inspired by a true, in that sort of distinction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's totally fair. That's how a lot of real, like, other scripts are, is inspired by stuff.
Yeah.
And then I noticed there was a epic cameo or a smaller role by Corey Malone. I'm a big fan of that guy.
Oh, big fan of that guy. Shout out Corey Malone if you're watching this. I'm sure I'll make him check this out.
Now I'm gonna make him come on.
Make him come on. Get him on this. Yeah, he's got tons of stories. He knows so many people in the community. And so I put out a casting call, right, on Facebook, and I'd never met this guy before. But I guess he saw my casting call.
Oh, Corey.
Corey, yeah. Yeah, Corey. And so I got him on a virtual audition. He nailed the part for Jeff, the landscaper in the project. So shout out Corey, who I met through making Brink. And now we've been good buddies ever since, and gone on to do tons of different projects, both on his and him working on mine as well.
I think he was it The Last Dinner or something? Was you guys working?
The Last Meal, yeah.
You know.
A run and gun of this year that we did together. Yeah, he directed and then I shot that and edited that. And so I'm pretty proud of where we took that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So yeah, back to Brink. Like, I mean, what are the details? So like what you put it out, has it done the festival run? I know it's on YouTube right now.
It was 2020 in October we shot it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2021 into November, we finished shooting it.
Yeah.
Edited it all the way into September of 2022. And then we did a private screening at the VIF Center. And then from 2022 into, I want to say, almost April of this year, it was in the festival circuits making its rounds. So yeah, it's been in a few. It picked up a few awards as well, which I'm super pumped about because it's a grind. I mean, I'm sure you know with festivals and the competition.
I kind of hate festivals.
I know.
I was going to ask actually. How much money do you budget to pay to enter things in festivals? I don't ever know what to do with that because I'm usually like, I was telling you before this that like 2025, I'm really going to try and get funding for some projects, even just so I can like pay people honorariums and then have money for a festival run. But like, how do you go about budgeting money for it?
Yeah, well, this one wasn't so structured as some of the more recent things I've done, but it was more thinking about what I'd done in the past. So I'd made a short before Brink for about $2,000. It was about half as long, but not even nearly as ambitious, even despite the fact that it was a zombie apocalypse film.
That's pretty ambitious.
Yeah, which was even that in and of itself. But that was so much post work, and I spent a while with the visual effects and things like that. So with Brink, it was more thinking about how are we going to pull this off with sort of the things I already have access to and then other things we can cheat. And I budgeted about $8,000 to make it from pre to post. And then from there, I took about a quarter of that, about a couple $1,000 and used that for festivals. So about a $10,000 all-in budget for marketing and for the
production. But like, yeah, so that sounds like about 20% of the budget you planned it for, like, I don't want to say marketing, but like
20% market. Well, that was obviously that can be free. A lot of that is like just, hey, I'm going to put myself on an Instagram story about this,
or some crazy podcast,
or some crazy podcast, with guys like this, awesome guys like Rob. And so, yeah, man, it was $2,000 then for the festivals primarily, and then any like Instagram boosted ads or something like the trailer sure helped me get. Not even, it's funny with making a film like that, right? Because it's like you do it for more than just the film itself. It's a stepping stone, right? And one of the things that I realized through making it was just how much you connect with people through the industry. Because when they see someone making something that's fired up about it, that gets them excited and they want to jump in that. So the trailer of Brink actually brought me some real good connections in the industry that I'm really proud to be able to say I have today. And
did you edit the trailer yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Because I'm actually trying to pound out this 20-minute fantasy short film that I shot.
No way.
And it's like, I've got picture lock. I'm like the dialogue. I'm basically learning how to edit or clean up dialogue and Resolve right now. So, and then a friend's going to help me with visual effects. But like, maybe I should bang out a good trailer.
I would love to see. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can send you a link when it's a little bit more presentable. It's close.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's there's so much dialing in, but a 20-minute fantasy film, is that a lot of visual effects? And
not really. It was it's supposed to be a pilot for like a series or maybe a feature length project.
Right.
I mean, this is all I can quote it all, but basically a guy on our world who plays Dungeons and Dragons gets hit by a car and wakes up in the game.
Oh, sweet.
But then the neat thing is that at the very end, after the credits, we reveal that like he's there, like his people back in the real world are like reading a book or like of their game, and he's in it and changing it. So like it's a two-way street. It's not just he's not just dreaming. It's like there's something going back and forth. Which
that's cool. So like a Narnia Chronicles of Narnia.
So it's like, and I mean, because I have all this armor and crazy stuff, and I have my own Blackmagic, and it's just like. But yeah, like that's kind of one of the ones where like in shooting the 20-minute pilot was like, and then the writer's strike happened. Now I really don't have, like, I was expecting to be able to work part-time in the film industry and then fund it. And now it's like, I probably need a couple like 10 or 20 or 30 grand to like shoot the rest of this.
Wow. But Yeah, I mean, do you have a deadline that you're looking at, or just whenever you can?
Yeah, I mean, I want to get the short film done by December or like mid-December. I kind of got a brain concussion going on.
Yeah.
So.
Dude. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're holding well. You're
Yeah.
holding up.
Well, but let's talk more about you, because like my projects are boring. I mean, yours is done, and you actually mentioned you got something else coming up, which we'll get to. But like, so Brink, like I watch it and it was great, but like, what were like hard scenes to shoot? What were like the ones that you're either really proud of or were like, man, that was such like way harder than I thought it would be to shoot?
Ooh, okay. Well, there was the scenes that were like, I know this is going to be hard, and it was hard. So there wasn't really any any hidden kind of potentialities at play.
What was like one of those? One of the ones you just knew? Like, I mean, I can guess like some of the action scenes.
Well, the end scene, with not to spoil too much, but there's a car chase.
Yes.
A particular car chase, and with a particular set of weather events.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you remember end of 2021 in November with the storm, that we had a really bad torrential rainfall. Yeah. You remember that?
Yeah, I was on set and we were like flooding out, like camera cars were getting pulled away in rivers.
Maybe you were on set with Ben then, who was the lead in Brink, because he was just off a shoot gripping the day before we did this night shoot in the pouring.
Was he? Did he ever work on the CW Flash?
Yeah, he was on the Flash.
Oh yeah, then probably.
Well, probably. I think he might have been keying on that.
Oh yeah, probably. That's why he looks so familiar.
Yeah,
I'm used to, because the problem is on Flash, everybody I got to know was like this with
a little mess up at the time. Yeah, but we ended up getting out, and no one was excited to be there at the beginning. I don't even know if I was. I was like, I need to be like the life and soul of this thing, right? To take it through.
But it's your camera and it's raining.
But it was my camera. So I went to Gearbase and I rented this camera jacket, this camera sleeve, covered it up, had the matte box in there to hopefully keep the flag, to keep the rain off the lens. And so we ended up also renting this car mount, the big suction car mounts. And so at one point I was like, okay, guys, I'm going to get two of you to hold up a big tarp. And then we're going to cover the front hood of the car with it while someone with a towel tries to dry it off. And we're going to stick this giant suction on and get the car mounted. We wasted probably 20 minutes trying to figure that out until it was like, this is literally impossible, where there's no way. So yeah, anyways, we had to do some big compromises. So I'd be in the passenger seat shooting the actor, or I'd be outside with the camera. But it was such a clusterfuck of if I can swear.
Oh, go ahead.
I was such a clusterfuck of different events. But the one thing, and this is the biggest thing I was worried about shooting that scene, cops, people calling it in, right?
Yeah.
With this car chase.
Yeah. Now I just want to jump in. Like, you had a cop car in it. Was that a cop car? Did you rent a cop car? Or like, was that just like film lights? Because I can do cop lights. Like, was it just car with like film lights on?
It was maybe more than not, but I mean, no, it was a decommissioned police car that I purchased for the sole purpose of Brink.
You bought a decommissioned cop car.
I bought a decommissioned cop car for the movie and had it in my parking lot for the whole duration. And
how much was that?
That was a whole other story. That was about $1,000, about $900.
I want to buy a decommissioned car.
It was amazing because I bought it during a time where cars were a little cheaper, but then there's this big chip shortage and cars got more expensive. And it was 2022 that I decided I'd go online and sell it. And I realized the value had gone up so much. I almost doubled my money making that. I'm selling that car. So
you're making money moves already.
I was making some money moves where I didn't even expect it. I thought, all right, flip it, get my money back. But no, it seemed to work out. So.
That's incredible.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to just, if you have the money, Tommy Wiseau it and just purchase, because then you just flip it. But no, it was cool. So the decals on the side was just tracking points that I added visual effects decals in post.
Oh wow!
Like and then the light bar, just like Amazon. Like I just go on Amazon and type in whatever I need, and get this. Again, like when I started making Brink, I was so much more new and naive to even the whole filmmaking process and what like all the crew roles and people in the industry and like what they're all going to bring. So delegating was a big lesson I learned from making Brink. Just finding people to do every individual piece.
Yeah, that's, I mean, it friggin' 26-minute heist movie is not like a small piece of pie.
No. And I'd never do it again because it's like I'm pulling triple, quadruple, quintuple duties here on set, and it was quite a grind. So yeah.
So yeah, back to like, what was a scene that maybe you like was like way harder to film than you expected? Because obviously the car chase, like I'd never try to film a car chase scene.
Okay, I got a good one for this. So the car chase, that's like we went into it knowing this is a grind, we got it done, and woohoo. But this was another one where we're near the end of day 2, our biggest day, and there was a lot to shoot, and we're at this old. We use it as a bank, but it's this old schoolhouse in Abbotsford. And so we get to finishing all our main stuff, and we can move into the more action-driven stuff. And so I was basically setting everyone up. We had an assistant director too. So the police car had to pull into the bank, right? And drop off one of the police officers, and then the car would peel off and go back down the road, right? Yeah. Which was just sort of like a drop off and drive. So I have my assistant director down the road next to the car to wave him to go. And then I realized, I checked the time and I'm like, oh no, it's 5 p.m. on a Friday right now.
It's going to be a busy day.
There was a line of cars waiting as we were trying to schedule everything. We didn't have permits for this. We didn't have anyone's approval. We didn't talk to the city. So we have this decommissioned police car that was loud as hell. No catalytic converters. It was like loud. And we're pulling into this as it comes into the bank, drops him off. And that whole sequence was 30 seconds, but we had to keep doing it. So we were slowly building up this line of cars going back. And eventually I get a lady coming up. And she's like, I want to speak to your director. Who's making this? I want to speak to your producer. Who's doing this? And she would not. She was relentless. She's like, do you have papers? I want to see your papers. Show us your proof. And so I think I just scrounged around for like a random certificate of insurance or something, or just like maybe our permit that we had on the day, I think is what I gave her. And she's like, this isn't good enough. I'm calling the city. And so she phones the city of Abbotsford. And luckily we get everything done, but I was so stressed out, man, like just having to deal with this person. We have cars honking, we have other onlookers, and I'm like thinking someone's going to be calling the cops right about now and they're going to be showing up. But no, luckily the police never showed up. And the worst thing I got was a call from the city the next day saying, David, or not, they didn't know my name, but you know, what were you doing there? And I just it's a student film. I don't know. Yeah.
Somebody was rude to her. She got really angry.
Yeah. So like, we got to call this lady. Was her name Karen? But no, it was a blast, man.
Yeah, and I guess like some of the other stuff, like I saw this. Oh man, I don't want to spoil. Somebody got maced.
Somebody got maced.
Was that water? Because I definitely saw stuff getting sprayed in somebody's face.
That was oh, that's funny too. I gotta really release like a visual effects breakdown of the whole thing, because that was not the way it looks on camera. That was so. We had this like haze in a can stuff. If you use that to smoke up a room,
that's horrible.
I know it sucks. It sucks, right? And then we had our very fake, but like real looking, but not operational little can of haze.
Yeah,
or haze. And so basically simultaneously with Ben, the actor, running up to mace the armored truck guard, and then also our special effects guy, we just sprayed the can of haze off right of the mace, and then in post cut it together, added a little bit more puff of smoke, but then you blend in the real with the fake, right? And then there was a lot of that where it's like the fake really complements the real, and you don't notice any visual effects actually at play. And that's my favorite type of VFX, when it's invisible to what you're seeing in film. So yeah, it was interesting, but no one got hurt. No mace in the eyes. Nothing.
Because I have friends who told me like, yeah, like do it.
Yeah, do it, man. Yeah, it's gonna be good. Yeah, but I'm like, you know what? The most I asked of Ben was, you're gonna be snorting our fake coke. Or fake cocaine, and then you're also going to be in frigid water on a ripper tube and on an inner tube, and that's kind of the two caveats I posed to him before he came on.
So now I actually with my friend's podcast, Life in the Circus, we talked to a props person who told us what they snort in movies. What did you get your friend to snort?
Okay, I like this one because I did some serious research into this whole thing, a whole rabbit trail, and I was like,
another YouTube poll.
And one of my favorite movies is Wolf of Wall Street. And I went in and said, what they use for the cocaine? And it was this vitamin B powder.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I bought, and that's what I gave the actor to snort, and he seemed to get a kick out of it, literally.
So the other secret is you coat the inside of the straw with Vaseline.
Oh,
and then
okay.
it sticks to it, so they also don't get as much to go in.
Okay,
Yeah, that's another trick, just in case they're not really down with having a lot
inside
of
the straw. When
they snort it, it does absorbs some of the powder at least.
I like that. That's good to know.
That way, like if you're doing a movie where they're doing a lot of
yeah. I mean, hey, that's awesome. Yeah, cool.
So yeah, and then I guess my second question, or one of my many questions, is how many days of shooting was it?
It was 3 days to start, back-to-back days, a fourth day in November, and then another 6 days spread out over the next year and a couple months. So it was 10 days total of production.
And then what did you edit in?
I used DaVinci Resolve. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Guilty as charged. Yeah. I know people are some people love it and some people refuse to start, but I'm trying to get every person. I know you use it. So
Adobe is really making it easy to move over. They just jack the prices up again. The problem is, it's like if I want to do something and I can like watch a movie at the same time, I'll edit it in Premiere. But I was telling you, I'm trying to get my Resolve skills up, because like you can't beat just owning something.
Yeah,
like you just can't, and especially because it comes with the cameras. It's like but even if I had to spend like $500 on it, it's just like you own it and it updates and there's no subscription.
It's great, and it's your all-in-one too. That was huge for us with editing, because it's the only program I use to make the whole piece.
How many visual effects shots were in Brink? Roughly.
Ooh, rough. Ooh, okay. I want to say maybe 50, 60. Like every shot that had at least something to do with visual effects.
Yeah. So Fusion, you must be like a Fusion master.
I got closer to the master status through making Brink, for sure, but there's just still so much to learn through it that I learned so much making it. Yeah.
I've been trying, but like I have years in After Effects.
Yeah.
And layers and nodes are such dramatically different intellectual concepts.
Yeah, I know. Right? How have you found it? Because it was such a learning curve for me at first, but some people it's so intuitive for.
Not even remotely. It's like, I'm like having to unlearn stuff, but like I do, like you said, it's all in one. Like, because like if I'm editing something in Premiere, it is just such a pain in the butt. Then I'm going to go over to After Effects, load that out, render it, because I don't I know they talk to each other and stuff, but they don't really like. You'd rather just render out like a TIFF sequence.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I did a music video and just finished that up, and I was using Premiere to do the bass cut, and then I was using After Effects, bringing it back from After Effects back into Premiere, and then rendering from there to do color and Resolve. And it was just like, I felt like I added 3 times as long of an edit period than I could have just doing Resolve. But you live and learn, and there are some things about Adobe that I just love, man. Like their new AI, generative AI, and in Photoshop and things like that.
I just love, even with like Lightroom, and I dabble in photography mostly to like improve my lighting skills. But like select subject, select background is just like whoa,
on boom, yeah.
So you were hinting you have a new project in the works.
I do. Yes, that is correct. I have Alphabet Soup, my 16-minute short film. It's a coming-of-age melodramatic film about 2 brothers and their terminally sick mom, and how they bond over a shared bowl of their mom's alphabet soup. And so it's a very personal one for me. I realized Brink was more of that big-headed, ambitious, kind of more fun action-based film. But then as I grew a little, I realized there's just a lot of substance I think I can pull from my own past and my brother growing up. So it's more of a personal look at just sort of the spirit of my growing up and my relationship with my younger brother.
Wow, that's a lot deeper than a cool heist movie.
Yeah, I know. It's totally going the other way now. But I think like I said, Brink was really just about trying to establish myself more in the industry, but now it's like Alphabet Soup, sort of that next step before features that I can kind of use as a calling card to say, hey, here's what I ultimately want to do. Here's my voice, right? My vision that I can bring to the world.
Now, how did the inception of that? I'm sure when it's done, we'll get you on and throw that trailer up and show that. But like, how did that? Did you write the script for that? And like, how long has that been in the works?
Yeah, I did write the scripts. Now that was something I consulted with different folks on pretty extensively. So it wasn't just, me in my own little vacuum doing it all myself. But yes, I wrote the scripts, spent about 6 months polishing that up. And then summer of last year or end of spring last year, we took it to production and shot that. So now it's in post and going through sound, going through color. We've basically locked the cut, but do you ever really lock the cut until it's finally?
It's why I'd actually prefer to have a separate editor, because then it's like, no, it's locked. I'm not asking him for any more cuts.
Yeah, I know. Oh man, and that's the thing, right? And I'm smart on you to have an editor, but for me, it's
Oh no, I don't have one. I just want one.
You don't? Oh, okay. We're in the same boat then. That's good. Because it was something where, maybe you're like me, and when I make a film, I like see every single shot before it's made, and so
sometimes, but a lot of times it's like I had to step away from that, because it's like, then you're limited on the day, and it's more like trying to gather resources. But
and there's so many things that if you want to talk like tough moments and difficult challenges, that one had its own slew. But when it came to post, it's like, well, I sort of already know what I want, right? And I'm able to just fine tune everything down to get there already. But
How many days of shooting was Alphabet Soup?
That was 3 days. 2 days,
short.
2 principal photography days, and a day for pickups and inserts, or the 15, 16 minutes short. Yeah.
How big was your crew?
The crew. Now that's the thing where we're with Brink, it was like everyone's wearing 2-3 hats. For Alphabet Soup, we had almost everybody delegated to a position. So I think we had about 15 people on that, including myself, and then also our actors as well. I guess you can include the actors in that.
That's quite a different size crew. Wow.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely reduced in terms of the cast. So Brink had about as many cast members as crew, whereas Alphabet Soup's got about 5 cast members in total. So definitely reduced there, which I find so much. When you're doing a short, you have to think of the scale of the world you're doing in the short, right? And if it's too big to really concentrate everything into a 10-minute piece, you leave too many plot holes or things. Whereas like with Alphabet Soup, it was like condensed, good for a 15-minute film, and so I think hopefully it's going to have the impact that it hopefully is going to bring.
So do you have any festivals you have your eye on?
I wish I could say I had it all laid out. To me, it's more so going to be when we have it ready, what's that going to look like? So what festivals are going to be accepting? And I want to go for the early bird submissions to try to save on So, I mean, there's the big ones. Like I'd love to get into VIF, Vancouver International. I'd love to get into Whistler. That'd be cool locally. And then Sundance, look at TIFF, look at, all the, got to shoot for the stars sometimes with it. So,
I mean, picking a personal story like that, I don't know if like all of my old personal growing up stories, I don't know if I'd want to do film of it so personal. That's like, I mean, you're going to feel vulnerable showing that to people?
But I think for me that's the point on this one. It's like I've wanted to like who's the director that said make it personal enough so that you're embarrassed to share it.
I haven't actually heard that one.
Yeah.
I should write that. Like,
get who it was, but but I wanted to do something from the heart, because a lot of the films that I love watching are the sappy, like tearjerker personal stories that you watch and you feel like transformed and you can't forget about it the next day, because you see yourself in it in a way, and you see like your own journey. So from others I've talked to and things like that, and people that have family, brothers or sisters, I think it's something that will have an overall appeal that isn't necessarily touched on completely right now in the industry.
That's great, and we should probably stop talking about it, because you're going to come back out and talk about it again.
Yes, sir.
And we got to get a second episode.
Whatever works. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
But like Brink, what's next? So tell everybody where they can see it on your YouTube channel. But give the shout out.
Sure. Brink is now available on my YouTube channel at VanDyke Visuals, or you can find snippets and behind the scene pieces there, and my Instagram, VanDyke_visuals, or at VDViz on Facebook.
That's excellent. And I mean, is there anything? I don't even know. I was kind of blown away, because I watched it before, but I was doing something else. And then I watched it and sat down and watched it before we came here. And I kept like forgetting that it was like just it was like a short film, and he didn't have a giant crew and didn't have a giant budget. Yeah.
It was fun when I did the cast and crew screening, right? Because I can pose more of my unadulterated questions to everyone and not feel too judged. So I asked one of the guys. So I asked someone who came out, and I said, "How much do you think it was made for?" And they said, what did they say? I think they said like 50 grand. I was like, no, that was under 10K. They're like, stop.
And dropping $2,000 on
and dropping $2,000 on. Yeah, well, just making the film, 8,000. But yeah, so it was a journey, but one that I know I'd never make again because it was like a specific time and place that I had the resources and the energy to do it. But no, I think I'll always be proud of it.
So if there was like a doppelganger you from another universe who was about to do that, what advice would you give them? Or like a young filmmaker who's like, I want to do a heist movie.
That's a great question, man. You're thinking of all the bangers. That's something I think I'd say. Yeah, kind of reiterating before, it's like take stock of what you have access to. Is it a location? Is it like a cool prop or costume piece? Or like, for example, this zombie film I did before Brink, I had a bunch of footage I shot up in a Cessna plane. And it was like, it was actually terrible footage. It was like shaky camera. I had my original Blackmagic pocket camera.
The tiny one? Yeah.
Tiny one. And it was like super long lens, shaky. But then I looked at it and I said, you know what? This is something that looks like home video footage from a plane leaving an apocalyptic setting. So I was like, what a cool opening for a zombie movie. Let me try that. So I think like just take stock of what you have access to and what you can do. And then if you have a nugget of something, you can build a whole story around that. I think that's really interesting. So yeah, find a story that fires you up, and it's going to be the gift that keeps on giving.
So you said you like take stock of what you had. What were a couple of things that you had to make Brink? Because like that location, like the bank or whatever you had in Abbotsford sounded like, that's kind of something.
Yeah, well, there wasn't, you know what, a lot of it was going out and just finding it to make it work, because it was so, and that's where like the passion to tell the story really came in, because it was so out of left field for me to have made. Even like police stuff and police costumes, that was all bought and provided for the actors. And but I will say one thing: the film opens up on a construction site, right, as our lead gets fired. That's all I'll say on that.
Yeah.
But I needed a construction site, and I'm like, okay, no actual construction site will let us jump in for free. So I realized that my aunt and uncle had a place in Aldergrove that they would operate a construction type business out of. It was like a big warehouse, gravel lot, and all this. And I said, you know what if I talk to them and they'd let us shoot? They were nice enough to let us come in for free and get everything shot. And then from there, you know, visual effects, add in the excavator and anything else we need. And
okay, I'm gonna have to rewatch to see that.
do it because there is so much to it that I think people might not see that were added in post. But that's sort of a big driver of why it took so long to get it out.
Well, David, thank you so much for coming out today and talking about Brink.
Thank you. Yeah,
we'll get you back to talk about Alphabet Soup. And
I'm excited.
Cheers, man.
Cheers to that. Thank you. I appreciate it.